Thank you. I'll be back in here some more time. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everyone doing?
Good.
Nick, good to see you. You are
Alyssa,
and I forget your name.
Sue,
Sue.
Catherine.
Catherine, you're on the Reynolds team, right? Okay, glad to have you.
Thank you.
I'm John Pace.
Hi,
Nice to
John
see y'all. I see you. Burnett, you're online, right? Hi, Burnett. Hey, Brett, can you hear me? Let's see this.
I can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay, great. Thank you. All right, guys, this is weird. So more than half is online.
They didn't want to get up this morning.
I hate online teaching. I really do. All right. Let me put my phone away. Give me a second. Turn this off. Probably not so. All right. So this is my first time teaching Ignite this way. So give me a little grace if I mess up some of the tech, whatever we got to figure out how things are working. We'll figure it out. I'm having to instruct from my iPad while running the screen and then talking to you guys and talking to them. So it's going to be a very fun experience. All right. A little about me, John Pace. I'm the owner of the Pace Richmond Group. We're going to close close to 150 this year, which we're really happy. It only took 16 years to get here. So give you guys some patience. There are people out there who knock it out in 5 years. The majority don't, and that's okay. So we're going to be talking about finding seller leads and where all this goes. So let's see what we got here. All right, let's talk about this slide. So this doesn't say what agents do every day. This says what?
Successful.
What successful agents do every day. And your job as a realtor, as an agent is what?
Grow your business, sell houses
Grow your business. So how do we grow our business?
by selling real estate.
And we sell real estate by doing what?
By having people who want to buy and sell.
And we have people that want to buy and sell by doing what?
Reaching out through database and lead gen.
Finding people who need our services.
Right.
So at the end of the day, our job is to find those people and set those appointments. And lead generating is, I go back and forth in my mind, what the lead domino really is that we know finding it sets the appointment. What is the most important thing? Is it talking to a lot of people, or is it actually setting those appointments?
It's talking to a lot of people. It's relationships.
It is, but you can have a lot of relationships that have no money involved. There's no
Right.
business, right?
So that's me. That's me.
It's about setting up the
Yeah,
appointments.
setting the appointment.
You can talk to 100 people, but at your appointment.
Yeah. You can talk to a lot of people. I have to do anything. I don't think so. Talk to a lot of people and still not sell anything. And usually there's two things that happen with an agent who's struggling. Either one, they're not talking to enough people, or two, they are talking to enough people, they don't know what to say. And they don't know how to, one, ask for the referral, or ask for the appointment, or close for the appointment. So we're going to talk today about growing the business, running the business. I think what we're looking at here, next slide, yeah, lead generating for buyers and sellers. That's our big thing today. And actually, it's focused on sellers, today's conversation of finding that piece of business. Let's see here. Out of curiosity, how's Ignite been so far? You guys like it?
Yeah, pretty informative.
What have you learned so far?
We did scripts one,
We had one aha so far that just kind of like got your eye, caught your
but
ear.
everybody does scripts. It's not, they all start out the same way, but everybody does exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
That was one.
Do you have kids?
I do.
When they were growing up, did you have scripts? I guarantee you said the same thing over and over, a certain way to get the attention or the result you want at the end of the day. Scripts is all about saying it a certain way and getting really good and really clear about how you say it. And when I got into business, scripts to me were, hi, my name's John, blah, blah, blah. Do you want to buy or sell a home today? That's a horrible script.
Because they're going, run away.
Scripts are, how do you say the right thing to get in a potential relationship with somebody that one day could turn into an earning potential. That's all it is. And you'll come across some scripts in here that are very direct. And there are some scripts that are a little more softer approach. They're both scripts. It's your style. It's how you want to work. And like my style is much softer to a point, and then I get really direct. And I've learned how to become direct. It took me a long time, but now I'm really comfortable with it because my clients appreciate it. When you're helping someone buy a house, are they paying the commission?
No.
When you're selling a house, are they paying the commission?
Yes.
So they're writing a big fat check to you and potentially to the realtor, and they want to know you got your game behind you. So learning timing on soft versus being strong is a really important thing. All right, let's see. Y'all have any questions so far? We get started? Anything that's important? No? All right, let's see. Let's talk about this. What's the difference between growing a business and running a business?
Growing a business, you have work for tomorrow, and running a business, you may not.
If I don't grow it, do I have anything to run?
No.
If you run something, do you have anything to grow?
Well,
You gotta have this, right, at the end of the day. But if you don't do well at this is a waste of time. But you gotta start here. Would that be fair? Okay. All right. So let's see, we're gonna focus on today. We already said that here. All right, these are the different areas we're gonna be focusing on over the day. So understanding motivation of a person, then qualifying them, pre-qualifying, qualifying the leads, and then pre-qualifying the seller, the appointment, the presentation, and then some ahas. There's gonna be some homework in here for you guys. They wanted me to go and help you guys put together your pre-listing packet, and I can show you how to get there. It's actually not hard to modify. And I think there's some other more important conversations today. So let's go into, you guys know what to do not call? When can you call someone who is on the do not call?
They reach out to you first.
Bingo. They've given you permission. They've given you permission. Correct. So just be very careful when you're talking to your database. You're not worried about this. If someone comes to your open house and signs in, have they given you permission to call?
Yes.
Yes, they have. All right. All right. Let's talk about seller leads. Okay. Let's talk about what kind of business you can have. Where can you find seller leads? That's a very broad answer. I'm not saying it's not true, but it's a broad answer. That's been anybody here? No, not too anybody. So where can you find seller leads from?
For me, it's like farmers markets, like my favorite small businesses,
Okay.
not really friends or family.
So you're going somewhere for a reason and you start having conversations with people?
Mhm.
Has that worked?
So far, I haven't gotten any real leads. I found that, so I was door knocking and putting up door hangers the other day, but I found that the hardest part was asking for their information to actually add it to my database.
Correct. And when you were I'm gonna go on a tangent here. So when you were door knocking, what were you leaving something behind or just introducing yourself?
Yeah, so I would knock, and then if they didn't answer, I had door hangers printed out, and I would put that on their door, and then if they did answer, I would talk to them and then give them a card and be on my way.
Got it. So there was no leave behind, no item of value, nothing that solidified the conversation.
No.
Yeah, that's one thing you may want to consider working on is what can you leave, like a link so they can find the value of their house.
Yeah, okay.
Something that or hey, here's the top 10 staging tips or the best improvements for your home. Because how many realtors are in Richmond? Give me a number, you think? Like, what is a lot?
5,000.
We're over 6. We're over 6,000. There's a lot of us. And most people think all realtors are the same. And to a certain extent, it's most of the same. Because we think by just talking, that gets us what the result we want. A lot of times you have to show up and be different and have value, that kind of thing. So you're good. Bravo for door knocking, because I hate it. I will not do it. Ain't gonna happen.
I was like, this is a nice day, you know, I'm just gonna walk around.
My private hell ain't gonna happen. I'm really proud of that. Let's level it up. Talk to Patrice about what item of value could you leave behind,
Definitely.
so other than just your business. All right. How else do we find seller leads? What other things can you do? Because Nick, you mentioned Sphere, and that is the number one best one.
Yeah.
But what's the problem with Sphere?
Well, sometimes, I guess those are your friends, those are people that you know.
It's always not a problem with your friends.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're not gonna have a problem with your friends, but like, I guess, I don't know,
They forget you're a realtor.
Just because they're your Sphere doesn't mean they're ready to buy or sell now, does it?
yeah.
So one, for them, they're gonna be somewhere in that 10-year window of buying or selling one day. Most people move every 10 years. It used to be 7, now it's stretched out closer to 10. So your Sphere is wonderful when they are ready, but what's more important than their own personal business when it comes to the Sphere?
Is their
Their
contacts.
friends.
And what is the number of people? They say everyone knows on average a certain number of people. You know what that number is? About 250. You want their mind share of their 250. And I want that person's mind share of that 250, and then this 250, and then that 250, and then this 250. And so you got to build trust that they can refer you to someone else. Is it easier for someone to refer themselves?
Someone else.
No. People are afraid to refer someone else because if it doesn't go well, it makes them look bad. It's easier to say, hey, I need to buy or sell a house versus my friend Susie says, I need someone. I was like, Nick's a really good guy. I know he would do well, but this, yeah. Just
That's the biggest thing I'm worried about. It's like now I'm calling my Sphere and like my parents' friends and everything like that.
Yeah.
It's like they have to trust me, who they've known since I was a baby.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing. Yeah, it's the trust factor.
The trust, you're building trust. And how do you build trust? Okay, so it says they say you're showing up regularly, so that would be tied to what, lead generation? But you're calling every quarter with some beneficial information for them, what the market's doing, what the price returns are in houses, how much the value has gone up. Maybe their neighborhood has already had 15 homes sell this year. You're giving value when you call. How else do you build trust? If I came to you and said, hey, I need help with this, and you responded in 2 minutes versus in 2 days, does the former build trust, not the latter?
Yes.
Speed builds trust, but it's time on task. So what I'm getting out of the Sphere is wonderful. 85% of our business is Sphere. And they're the easiest people to work with because they already know you, they already trust you, but you don't always get a very quick return. Your Sphere is not going to open houses every weekend. There's a small subset that are. But if you hold an open house, the odds there you're going to find someone who's looking to buy or sell. Right. So you can find other immediate sources that might have a faster turnaround while you're building a relationship with your Sphere. You can be door knocking. They make value around that. What other things can you be doing to find business?
Definitely hosting open houses.
Open houses is a great one. Morning.
Morning. You're doing great online.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You can call for sale by owners. You can call expires. I mean, those people, for sale by owners, have a help wanted sign in their yard.
Yeah.
They suck at it. They're not good at what they did. They don't know what they're doing. They need someone to help them. Expireds want to sell, but the person they hired couldn't do it. And usually when the expired doesn't sell, it's not because of the house, it's because of the scripts. The seller beat the listing agent to the value of the house. Realtor says it's worth 500, the seller says I want 575. Person that doesn't have a counteract it, they go off to 575. It doesn't sell. Realtors waste all their time. So back to scripts. All right. But your database, super, 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 super important. You have a thought in your mind.
Yeah. So if my family lives about 2.5 hours away in Northern Virginia.
Yep.
And I was thinking, I'm sure it is it worth it to put like all my parents' friends in my database, even though they're not leads right now, but like to send them those emails as well?
So I was at a wedding this week in upstate New York for my family. And I had 3 different family members say, oh, get your newsletter. One lives in Massachusetts, one lives in Jersey, and the other one was, I think, also New Jersey. And What did I say to them? Great, let me know if you ever want to do something. I can find a great realtor. I got a network all over the country. In fact, my cousin, not when he got married, another cousin, they want to end up in either Florida or North Carolina. And I was like, I'm going to help you one day. You got to call me first. She goes, okay, I'll call you. So those what is the easiest money in real estate? Referrals. You find the business, you find a great realtor, hook them up, they're done. They take care of all the hard work, and then you get a check 3 to 6 months later. So that's great business. So yes, they should be on your list. You should be marketing to them, because through Command, you could also set them up on a market report, right? And the market reports for Command are national. Any other service you use, it's local. So if you're trying to set someone up on a market report in Pennsylvania, but you're here, you can't do it. With Command, you can't. So my parents have a house in California, they have a house in Hilton Head, and they have a house in Arlington. So their market report has all 3. That's a huge value. And it also, the marketing is about them and their property. It's not about me. Right? All right. Let's see. All right, so this is not lining up with what I'm seeing on here, so I apologize, guys. Let's see here. All right. What is the daily 10 for? I know you guys have seen it. What's the daily 10 for?
And such as
Four
oh,
notes.
it's the 4, yes, the 10 phone calls, 10 conversations,
10 houses.
10 houses.
10 houses, and then it's like full, like doing something with the 4.
Before we get into nuances, why do they have you working on a 10 for?
It helps lead generate, it helps build your database.
And it gets you in a habit of doing it. Routine. When I got into real estate, I was much more entrepreneurial, where I was going out and meeting people, and I would find people. Just talking. I was single at the time, got out all the time. I hit a ceiling of achievement I couldn't get past. So I hired a coach, and the coach said, well, why don't you start calling your database? And that scared the crap out of me. Having to talk to people that I know about what I do, felt like I was putting myself out there a little too much. And all he wanted me to do was call 2 people a day. And I struggled. And now I'm comfortable calling 30 or 40 a day if I have to. You get used to it. Time on task, all of a sudden conversations get easier. They know what you're doing. They know you're an expert, and it gets better. But you got to start somewhere, and you got to be calling your database. Because if you're not calling them, someone else is. There's over 6,000 realtors in Richmond. Your people know other realtors. And they're going to use the person who's going to help them get what they want one day, or they'll refer the person that they most trust. So please call your database. Please bring value. Please do things for them that other people aren't doing. All right. We talked about open houses. Who has not been in an open house? Y'all don't. All right. So how do you get people's information from an open house?
Supposedly the sign-in sheet, but sometimes they'll put a fake email or just phone numbers. You can tell. For me, I can tell, like, I can see it, like in the beginning, everyone's giving my information. Then as it goes down on my sheet, they give less and less information.
Yeah. It happens. I find usually because we get busier and busier at the open house, you have less chance to greet them and say, please come in. Thank you, by the way, the seller's requesting you sign in for us, please.
Yeah.
Right? So finding time. So one thing we've done is actually, every now and then Nick's helped us out. We've had a second person be there so that the primary agent can be focused on having those conversations. And then we tag team trying to get people to sign in. Shayna on our team is awesome at it. Danielle, if you're on here, was awesome at it. She did an open house for us. We had, I think, 45 groups come through. She got 42 to sign. And she found 2 pieces of business from it. It's there, but you gotta have the scripts to get them to sign in. When they walk in the door, what's the first thing you say? Hello, that's a great place to start.
Well, then you would, you know, say hi, and then you ask them that the seller is requesting that it signs.
Before that, I ask a question because I want to know who they are. Because who usually comes to an open house?
Somebody looking for a house.
Yes, and who else?
Comparing that
Comparing
house.
neighbors looking at comparisons.
And who else?
Other agents?
People looking to sell, yes, there is, people looking to sell who are maybe looking to. If I sell a house to a buyer, can I pick up another lead from it? Is it as easy as I put a sign in the yard and I do an open house, I advertise on the internet, and I call my database? Which one generates other business? A listing or a buyer? A listing. It's very hard. It's not impossible. It's much more difficult to get another piece of business off a buyer other than a referral. And maybe you do some advertising and you start that kind of thing, but usually you're gonna find other business with the seller. So when I do an open house, I wanna know who the sellers are.
Ask them what brings them here today.
Yes, yes. Oh, thanks, Melissa.
No
So-
problem.
I ask them actually, I say, so most people who come to my open house are either looking to buy their next home or thinking of selling theirs. Which one are you? And just nicely, as I'm shaking their hand. And usually half the time I get, I'm actually one of the neighbors. I'm just wanting to come and take a look at it. Wonderful, we love the neighbors. By chance, do you know someone who'd be a good fit for this house? My sellers would appreciate if you come across someone who's a good fit. I make it about the sellers, not about them. But finding out who they are, so you're actually starting to find out if you want to talk to them. Because they might say, I'm just looking around. That's great. If you don't mind, please sign in. The seller's requested that you do so. Take a look around. If you have any questions, I want to go to the next person. If I do an open house, my goal is to find one person that I can find business with. If I can get more, great. I want to find one person that needs my energy. And that person comes across nicely. I'm going to put a lot of energy to them, having more with the others. But
So
open-
John,
Yes.
so I've got a quick question. It's Burnett, good morning. So then, is it true that we get more sellers from talking to sellers? Or do we get both buyers and sellers from talking to sellers? What's-
You will get both. Yeah, I mean, so if I put a sign in the yard, and listen, I think it's what you're asking, Burnett. If I put a sign in the yard, I have a chance to find both buyers and sellers.
All right,
Because the odds are 30% of people who are buying are also selling. So you have a chance when you put a sign out to find both a buyer and a seller.
okay,
And if I find a buyer at home and I show them the house and they go into contract, unless I'm being really deliberate on marketing, like I do an Instagram post or a Facebook post and said, hey, I just closed on this house for my client. Wonderful working with the listing agent. Help me, let me know if you need let me know database if you need help finding the next great house or something like that. You can get purposeful that way, but not as purposeful as by putting your name in lights on the street, literally saying this is what I do and how I do it. Because you can't get sign calls as a buyer's agent. Can't get lead-in calls. You don't get open house leads. You can do it differently. So sellers to me is how you build your business. You will find buyers naturally by focusing on sellers. So when you're doing lead generation and you're starting off as a new agent, you usually find buyers more than sellers, right?
right, yes.
Get really good about finding sellers. Start asking deliberate questions. When you guys have heard this thing, the reticular activator thing, you buy a new car, you end up seeing that same car up and down the street all the time.
Yeah.
Same thing. So you got to teach your database what to look out for. I love helping buyers and sellers, but really right now I need to find people who are looking to list their home. Someone I should be talking to. Get their brain. In fact, I would love to be in 23229. You know anyone in 2229? Or do you know anyone in 23220? Or actually, this is a neighborhood I've sold 3 times in before. And I want to get more inroads. I really want to do here. Do you know anyone in this neighborhood? The clearer you can get with people and what you want, the easier it is that it'll ping their brain when it shows up.
But see, if you don't have that as part of your script, like if you haven't sold that many, I mean, how can you generate that conversation?
Then it's just a conversation around, hey, I'm looking for people who are looking to list their home.
Okay.
In fact, what I usually say is, listen, we've got 10 buyers right now who can't find the house they want, and 5 of them are in this certain area. Do you know someone in this area who's thinking of selling and hasn't hired a realtor yet?
Okay, great.
My buyers would really appreciate it if you come across somebody.
Okay.
I love always saying my buyers or my sellers would really appreciate it. Because it's not, don't hire me to help them.
Right.
Right, okay.
The software touch. And of course, referrals, we talk about that too. All right, any questions on this? Any ahas? Any oh crap moments? No?
I like the last thing you just did about the buyers appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's a big.
I do it all the time. Because that's, if I had nothing to say to someone on a quarterly call, I'll find a buyer that needs a home. And I'll call my database and say, hey, look, you know, John and Susie have 3 kids, need to be in this school district, you know, so much to someone. They would really appreciate it. And if you don't have a buyer, but maybe you don't have one, but he does, you can say, hey, Nick, do you have a buyer over here? Let me go try to find a seller for you. Call your database. I have a friend in the office who has a buyer, you know, someone trying to help them out. Just find any way to call with a good reason. All right, qualifying. Let me see here. Hold on. Yeah, okay, so that jumped around. Oh, by the way, in the toolkit, you guys have a link to the toolkit? That's something you guys got originally, I think, if I'm not mistaken. If not, I'll give you a link at the end of the day. But in there, a bunch of stuff around open houses, the pre-listing questions, pre-qualifying questions, all that stuff's in the toolkit. It should be in the link for today's stuff. Because you guys got links for each class, right?
Where would those links be?
That's great. I have no clue. When we're done here, I will show you how to find it.
Okay.
I'm afraid if I pop out of this screen here, I'm never going to get back to it.
I don't see it on the calendar. It's like a description.
Okay.
So.
If you look up Ignite in command in KW Connect, if you look up Ignite,
Oh, yeah.
you'll find the daily classes, and there should be a PDF link,
Yes.
and there should be a toolkit link. If not, I'll get you a link at the end.
Okay.
We'll go through a lot of stuff. So we're going to get into these pre-qualifying questions, connecting questions, all that stuff.
Hey, John.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, this is Crystal. I'm actually a hybrid attendee because I'm actually trying to park right now, but I just had a question before I get in the door.
Love it. All right.
So I understand that you mentioned that you know, to your database, you're sending, you know, valuable content. I know you mentioned that to Alyssa, really adding value to people, whether it's your newsletter or whatever that may be. How often are you really touching people with a newsletter? Are you more of a monthly basis, kind of giving people market trends and reports, or what's your stance on contacting through those types of marketing mediums?
Yeah, great question. So we use the market report because that's about them, and that goes out anywhere to twice a month to once a month, depending upon what they want. So I actually call my database and say, you know, we have this great information about your home. How often would you like to receive it? And if you don't like it, let me know. I'll take you off the list. No one ever unsubscribes. And sometimes they'll say, hey, once a month is great. We have the option for once a quarter. I don't tell them once a quarter. I say, do you want it weekly, bi-monthly, or monthly? Bi-monthly and monthly. And they tell me how often they want to get it. So that's number one. Number two, we actually built a newsletter in-house, Crystal, that we send out as well monthly. And that talks more about our listings that are on the market and some things that are happening in the world, and that kind of stuff. So they all hear from us via email at least 24 times a year. And then we're calling quarterly, and then we do 2 client parties a year as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's the bare minimum for us. We also have a lot of other stuff we do around that. That's the bare minimum.
Okay, awesome. I'll be up there in a second.
Great for you. All right. All right. Any other questions? Connecting questions. All right, so y'all ever heard the term open-ended question? What does that mean?
It's not a yes, no.
Not a yes or no. However, when we get nervous, what do we tend to do?
Yes or no question.
Yes. Glad to see you. Thanks for coming. What are you looking to buy or sell? Buy. Great. You want to start asking questions about what is they're looking for, their motivation. Not everyone's buying for the same reason or selling for the same reason. And if you can understand and ask great questions, you start building trust versus sounding like every other realtor out there. So for example, get details to add to your database. If you would, please tell me a little bit about your family, job, life, etc. Access their needs, wants, and plans. What are you going to do? Where do you want to go? What are you looking for? What do you want to do? Where would you like to buy? Where is your home located? You're asking questions to drill in about what they are and where they're going. You get people talking a lot. They think they're actually having a phenomenal conversation, but they're doing 90% of the time. You're just asking questions and they feel heard. The worst thing you can do is a show open house or you call your database and you do all the talking. And we tend to do that because we're what? Nervous. Really nervous, really uncomfortable. Oh my God, if I don't sound smart on this, they're never going to talk to me again. I ruin a friendship. Just ask questions. Hey, I know I haven't talked to Nick, call you friend, and I know I haven't talked to you in a while. If you ever were to buy a home, where do you think you might live? Well, if I was, man, Scott's Addition's a lot of fun. Oh, you want to get a condo? No, I hate condos. Oh, where else would you like to live? What kind of house are you looking for? I want to have a single family house. I want an acre lot. I want to have room for my dogs. Whatever it might be. I want accessibility to trails, right, Seth? Find out, get them dreaming. People dream, they get excited. They start talking. Get them dreaming. I know you've been in your home for 8 years. Are you happy here? Sorry, that's not an open-ended question. That's a, yeah, I'm fine. If you could live anywhere else, where would that be? Is there anything about the neighborhood you're in you don't like about it? What do you love about the neighborhood that you would probably stay here? Find out more what makes them tick. You say, well, the schools are okay, but we got another 3 years. Well, we realize in 3 years, interest rates are going to be X higher and price is going to be X higher. And you don't buy on price, you buy a monthly payment, right? You buy a house, you're not paying $330,000. You're buying a monthly payment of $330,000. So would it make sense to consider moving now because it's going to be cheaper if you did, rather than waiting 3 years? I hadn't thought of it that way. Should we talk? I think we should. Start asking questions to get them talking, get them thinking, and they might be dead on perfect on their 3-year plan. Great, is there anything I can be offering value to you? Do you have any need for contractors, handymen, painters, repairmen, landscapers? Do you know what you need to do to your house to get it ready for market in 3 years? Well, no, I really don't. Would you like me to come by and take a look and give you some thoughts? I would love that. Great, when can I come and see you? Is that a listing appointment? No. Is there any motivation yet? No. Could it turn into a listing appointment?
Yes.
Could you uncover some things while sitting down talking with them that actually might get them thinking faster than they were before? Is it a conversation you should be having with people? Yeah. All right, what other kind of questions are on here? How do you plan to do this? I really want to live in Barbados. Tired of Richmond. So how do you plan on doing this? I play the lottery once a week. Get people thinking. Most people are in their lane. They dream a little bit on the side, but haven't put thought behind it. And you can actually put a plan together that actually helps them do it. You can go from 3 years to 6 months pretty quickly. That happens all the time. I had a client right now who was waiting until next year. And then I just happened to call him last week. He's like, John, we're selling next month. Plans have changed. I'm glad I called him, because he could have called somebody else very easily. What other kind of connecting questions might be out there? These aren't the only ones.
What would it look like for your family if you move?
Yeah. Yeah. Don't mind at all. Glad you're here face to face. What's good for me? Very selfishly. What other questions could you be asking? Connecting questions.
Why is this important to you?
Thanks, Burnett. What else? You guys ask questions when you talk to people. I know in your mind you want to ask them a question. If you don't,
Why are you selling? Or do you want to sell your home?
you could. Or why would you consider selling? If I know you're not ready to move now, but if you did move, why would you want to move? Where would you want to go? What's important to you? What's the driving decision? if I could make your home much better, what would that look like? I usually start with, what do you love about your home? And tell me all the great things. Next thing you know, they're saying, yeah, but my wife has the main bathroom, so I have to share the bathroom with 3 kids. I would love the 3rd bathroom. Or the neighbors next door are super annoying. I can't take the dog barking anymore. I really want some acreage to have some peace in my life. Just ask questions. All right. Seller lead categories. When someone says they want to do something, are they all created equal? No. Some are ready to go now. Some maybe next few months, maybe the next year. Is it a problem if they're not ready to go right now? And why is that? It could be. It could also refer you, show enough value, and you're building your pipeline. If you had everyone lined up for this month and nothing else for the next 6 months, you got a problem with your business. So it's great when someone says, I'm ready to go, but not now. Great, so how can I help you between now and then so you're getting all the information you need? So you want to be thinking about people in A, B, and C categories. A, they're ready to go in 0 to 14 days. They are ready to go. B is 15 to 60. I really want to do this, but I'm not quite ready yet. I haven't talked to a lender. I'm not sure where I really want to be. I haven't pinpointed it out. I don't know how much I can afford. I want to buy, but I also have a house to sell. I'm not sure how to put those together. You have a system how to make me work, so I don't want to pay 2 mortgage payments. I hear that all the time. I don't want to pay 2 mortgage payments. And then C, which is hidden behind my stuff over here, ready to do business in 61 days or more. So more than 2 months. And you got people, you put people in command, right? You get the information, put them in command, put a tag, client A, client B, client C, or buyer A, buyer C, buyer B, buyer C. That's a better way of doing it. So that way you can then do a filter and find all your A's. And you call your A's every day, every other day. You call your B's once or twice a week, and you call your C's every 2 to 4 weeks.
When you're calling someone every day or every other day, what are you saying to them?
Because they're motivated. So at that point, it's actually not that hard. It's pre-approved, home search set up, following up every day to say, hey, this home came on, do you want to see it? This home came on, do you want to see it? Nothing came on today. Any of the ones from last week caught your eye maybe? Maybe you changed your mind on one of these, and you're just checking in and checking and checking and checking.
So that's with buyers.
Yeah.
So what about sellers?
Then can you get your house ready? Because when they're selling, going somewhere else, right? So either you're helping them buy or referring them somewhere else, or maybe they're moving into their final retirement home, wherever it is, but you're helping put them together. Have you met with movers yet? Have you got, is my stager come by me yet? All the little details that happen in their back end. Now, we don't call every single day for people ready to go, but we're communicating them. We have some emails that go out automatically, some texts that go out automatically. So there's a communication piece almost daily, 2 weeks going up to it. I'd rather you call more than less, or communicate more than less.
That's something I have to get out of my head because I would hate that personally. I would hate that.
Well, it could also be one day you just text them, hey, I know you're busy today, just check in with anything you need from me. I'm fine, that's great. And you will have some clients who love the fact that you check in regularly. I don't just say, I'm good, call me in 3 days. That's totally fine, wonderful. How often do you want me to call you? Great, I'll make note of my system. I'll call you on Mondays and Thursdays. People will tell you, if you ask them how much communication do you want from me, they will tell you exactly what they want. For us, like I call all my pre-sellers every Wednesday to check in, but I'm also asking them, hey, is this enough communication for you? And most of the time they say this is actually perfect. I have some that are a little needier, a little more handhold, and they actually, you could call me Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I would really appreciate it, just so I know. If you want me to call you or text you, either one's fine. Just check in.
Yeah, I always ask, how do you like to communicate?
Yeah.
And I will let them know that I will be reaching out to you once a week, but you can contact me at any time.
I think the pre-listing packet too has like, there's a questionnaire in there and it says something like, how often do you want to be contacted or updated? And so they can circle which one so that you have an idea. You have to ask them if you send them that, then they'll tell you.
Yep.
Because I didn't realize, like, I was thinking the people I'm working with wanted to know like every single day. And then they checked weekly, but now we are talking every single day. So
Right.
sometimes things change because as, you know, they get more serious, so.
I think organically, your communication.
Yeah.
is up.
Yeah,
Exactly.
whatever it is.
Because you're like, hey, did the contractor reach out to you about
Exactly.
deciding?
You're not gonna just not communicate with them, just they said the once a week.
Because there are also things in your mind that you're going, I
Yeah.
need to make sure that's done, I need to make sure that's done.
Yeah.
So part of the communication is you also
Right.
make sure.
But
And
that to me says that that's before, that's when you have somebody. But, I mean, we're talking about, are you reaching out to someone once a week when they have not signed with you? They have not.
You're not signing with me, you're gonna sign with somebody else.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
So this is more, I guess, for in-person contacts and speaking to people. So I have trouble remembering some details and want to take notes so that I can remember those important things. What is a tactful way to do that to still keep that conversation going so they don't feel like you're ignoring them when you stop to take notes or things of that nature?
So ask, if you're face to face with them, I always ask them, you mind if I take notes? And they always
Okay.
say, yes, please, that'd be great. Because the worst thing they
Okay.
do is they spend all this time talking to you and we forget what's important to them. So ask permission, do you mind if I take notes? And if
Okay.
you're on the phone, I have a headset that I use, so I have my hands are free. And it's a noise canceling, so I start typing away. I'm typing and talking. That's my favorite, because I can just, they don't even know it. They're listening, I'm talking, typing. And don't ever think of Melissa, you're fine. Just ask permission.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
generally
Okay.
people, they find that as a caring thing. Like you care enough to write it all down, to remember it and to be able to refer back to it. So that makes them feel.
And I'll set tasks based on those conversations. They said, hey, I need help with this. And I say, can I call you on Monday with maybe 1 or 2 people? That would be great. And then I'll call, hey, you asked me for these 2 things. Here's what I have. Wonderful, thanks very much. And I make another task, and I make another task. That's one of the things that they don't really teach much is you should always have a task lined up in your CRM for the people you're talking to, every time. So they ask you to do something and you call them and you gave them the answer. You check it off, and then you have another task to do something, either to do a text follow-up or an email follow-up or a phone call follow-up. But there's always something else. Don't rely on your brain, because as your business gets bigger, there's not enough room in your brain. It just doesn't work. You'll drop balls left or right. Talking from experience.
I think doing the notes too, like I've met with clients and I'm sitting there like jotting down crazy notes, but then afterward, when I can read my handwriting later, I will send them an email, and then a lot of times I'll find that maybe I misheard something and they'll correct it. So at least you have something in writing that, you know, these are the different features in their home, maybe you misunderstood one, and it's now in writing, so you can kind of cover yourself too, from what they shared with you. And I think that that's helped me a lot, because that I'm super detail oriented where I might go a little too far. Like, and they're like, no, I meant to say it was this. Oh, okay. So now we have it in writing that it's this.
Yeah, very much so. Here's that toolkit thing. There was a link for it somewhere. Let me pull this up here. Buyer lead sheet, the daily 10 forward. How about that? Let's see, what else do they have in here? Open house. This is awesome. Have you seen the open house countdown checklist? Can't believe we haven't shared this with you guys. All right, let me find what I found that. I want you guys to have this now because this is important. Where did I find the toolkit? Oh, here it is. So we're on kwpage/page/ignite-instructor-clone. I'm going to put this in the chat box. Clone, yeah, CLONE.
That's a page/ignite.
-instructor-clone.
So the error has occurred.
All right, hold on, guys. I'm going to hit stop share for a second. I'm going to see if I can enter a chat box here. So everyone at home, I'm going to put this out here. I'll have it there. Rest of y'all, I'm not sure how to get it to you other than telling you to. kwconnect.com/page/ignite-instructor-clone. And at the very top of the page, it says download the Ignite Toolkit for resources you will use.
So when I click download, nothing seems to happen. I've tried to download that before.
No way. Do me a favor, if you right click on the link and hit copy link address, and then open a new tab and paste it in, it downloads.
That worked.
It worked?
Yes, perfect.
I don't
Thank
know
you.
why. Yeah, I don't know why I have to do it that way, but
Well, you can pull it up on this.
yeah, I got it.
Okay.
So you highlight the Ignite toolkit, and that's what you're putting in your,
Yeah, you highlight that and you right click on it and hit copy link address. And then you got to open a new tab, paste it in the tab, and it downloads a zip file for you or something like that.
Thank you. That's a lot of information in there when you
Yep.
open it up and expand it.
Yep, you get to read a lot of stuff. All right. So I'm going to share this right here. Share. Why is it not coming up? Oh, there it is. This is on page 17 of that toolkit. Why do they give us a pre-listing questionnaire?
Because it helps you, it arms you to go into your listing presentation.
Correct. Would you rather walk into a meeting with a seller knowing what is driving them, what they want, where they're going, or would you rather show up kind of blind and having to figure it out?
No beforehand.
Right. If you know that they're looking to move to a different area, could you bring stuff with you that would be helpful to that conversation? If you know one of the most important things is what I have to do to my house to get ready, could you ask them questions about what the house looks like, what the problems are? So you need to get these things answered. These are really, really important to use. How'd you hear about me? Why do you ask that question?
So you can track where your business is coming from. Right.
And then you could do what? Let's
Get
say
more from it.
if Nick were sent you a referral, you want to send Nick a thank you note with a little gift card in there or something like that, right? A little thank you, trying to reward the behavior. You want to know where this business is coming from. Where are you moving? Someone's selling a house, it's because they want to go somewhere else. You want to know where that is. What's your motivation for you to move there? How soon do you have to be there? I love this question. If we sell your home in the next 30 days, will that pose a problem for you?
Yeah.
You think you can do that? Yeah, we can do that. Would that be helpful? Great. I thought it'd take me 3 months to get ready. Why did you think that? Well, we're gonna have to do this, this, and this. Maybe it will be 3 months, maybe it will be a month. What would happen if your home did not sell? Why do we ask that question?
So it's the expectation though that it's possible that it doesn't sell in 30 days, it sells in 35 days or 40 days.
What if it doesn't sell at all?
Yeah.
Are they okay staying where they are? My wife's gonna kill me if I stay here. I've got to get to this next neighborhood.
So you know how aggressive they need to be.
You know what there was driving. Right? It starts opening things in your mind. Okay, this is where there's no, they're going. So I'm talking about pricing. I can talk about pricing here, which may not sell the house, or I can start here, which I guarantee will sell the house. And if they're that motivated, they're gonna go here.
It also helps them to start thinking too, because they may not be as forward thinking. And some of the things you throw out, they go, oh, I never thought about that.
Very true, very true. How much do you want to list your home for? Why do we ask that question?
Well, do you want to get an idea if they have a balance on it? Like, what do they need to make on it to, you know?
No, later question,
Oh.
very good question. But how much do you want to list your home for? How much do you think your home is worth? Why do we ask that question?
So you understand where they're coming from as far as what they think their house is worth.
When I do the market analysis and I see it's only worth 275 and they want 350, I have to have a different conversation ready to go.
Right.
A couple of times I've had clients that say, well, I want 300. I'm like, this thing's worth 350. And so I then ask them, hey, is it important? What's more important? You get top dollar or sell them quickly? So Seth found out he had a client that said, I don't care about that. I need to get it gone. I'm done. Just sell it. And I have other clients I've said, I think you need $50,000 more than you're thinking about. You sure? I think you can. Let me show you the numbers. And then I had a client who's referred me a ton of business because we actually got them more than we thought we could. How much do you own the property? And we asked that because
Yeah, that's a huge piece, because most of the time people need to pay off the balance to move to another house, or they need to figure out, some people can't carry 2 mortgages, so most people.
yeah, it's not what you sell it for, it's what you walk away with.
Right.
That allows you to do what you want to do or not do what you want to do. So that's really important. And when you ask how much do you own the property, and they're missing a D for do, be clear, people will usually tell you the mortgage. But find out there's a second, find out there's an equity line. Those are really important because those balances have to be paid off at closing as well. I'll be sending you a packet of information. Would you take a few minutes to read before we meet? We're gonna get that in a little bit. Do you have any questions before we meet? What's usually the top question that I get when I ask that question?
How much do you think my home is worth?
Right.
Sometimes I usually get more of, well, how much do you charge?
Yeah.
Man,
And then what do I say?
wait till the end.
We'll discuss it.
I didn't, this is a phone call.
Oh, okay.
This is a phone call. So I always tell them, I never talk about money over the phone. It's too important of a conversation not to have face to face. Is that okay with you? They always say, that's fine. Now, if they push back and say, well, actually, this is really important for me to have the lowest commission possible, then I start asking questions, well, why is that the case? Well, I'm trying to save money. I'm trying to save money. Well, if I can show you how to make more money by hiring me than hiring a discount broker, would that be open? You'd be open to have that conversation. And then I had to be prepared for that conversation. I got to have my data in a row. Why hiring me or hiring you with the office behind you is in their best benefit to do so. Outside of Cap Center. So what's Cap Center's like list of sales ratio? I know you looked this up a while back, not too long ago, wasn't it?
I mean, it's skewed still because of this market, but when I looked it up, even when it was like hot market, it was still 98%.
Yeah, 98%. Our team's 109%. So you want to say 1% when I can put 12% in your pocket.
Right.
Let's do the math here. I don't understand the problem. And some people get hung up on the idea of paying commission. They just can't get past it.
Yeah.
That's where the net sheet shows up. And usually you can get there. Every now and then you have someone who just will not go past that conversation.
Yeah, some of them just have the number in the brain and that's it. They're not paying any more than that.
Because they think realtors are all the same.
Yeah.
I hire a realtor to sell my house. And they don't do anything different.
And sometimes they have a bad experience that really just sets the trend for every single other person that talks to them, and they're like, they just assume that you're just as terrible as that person.
Yeah, in fact, we'll ask those questions a lot about, tell me last time you sold a house, what was that like?
Right, the experience, so you can kind
Yeah.
of differentiate.
Correct.
But there are those ones, I mean, they're just dead set, that's it. I'm not paying more than 5%, or I'm not paying more than 4%.
And that's
I
fine.
can find somebody else to do it for that price.
And I go back to the conversation. I can show you how you can actually make more money by paying me more, and we actually win together. We should go into that conversation. And if they say no, I'm like, no, best of luck.
Right.
And if they say yeah, usually they'll say yes because you'll pique their attention. It's worth 30 minutes meeting with me to find out how I can make you more money than the average realtor if you want.
I just had a listing appointment where they were interviewing another agent that was a friend of a friend. So one of their friends has an agent, and they went with this other agent, but they emailed me and they were like, you know, we really think you would have been a strong advocate for us, and all of these compliments and stuff. I'm just like, well, then why would you go with the other guy?
You know what? Guilty.
Right.
Their friend says, this person's the best. You're gonna love them. And they're like, I like you a lot too. But it happens.
Yeah, I mean, we went over that whole conversation of, you know, don't hire your friends type thing, but I just couldn't get them past that.
Yeah.
That's probably exactly it. It's just guilt. Like they feel like they have to use their friends' friend.
Yeah.
It's worse when it's family.
Yeah.
It can be.
It's really worse. They
Yeah,
don't want
it
to be
can be.
insulting, but they're like, your uncle sucks and you're not gonna
You should set a task to follow up with that person.
Yeah.
I'm going to.
Because that was something when I did online sales, that was one of the biggest things in there. I would know because I'm getting all these leads and calls from Zillow and from all these places, and I realized like, oh, they just want to see this house, but they, their uncle's friend is a realtor, and they, feel obligated to use them. But if you just follow up and continue to just add value to them, it's amazing when they go, yeah, I just realized like he's a firefighter and like his schedule is really hard and like I've missed out on 2 houses. And you're like, oh, well, we'd love to show you something, obviously if you work with us in the house you see, that would be, us helping to represent you. But if you see something with him, hey, whatever happens, right? And it happens so many times over and over. It's like people weren't available, like they don't do it full time, so.
I did have one client that they weren't even fine. I had gotten the listing and they canceled it because she wanted to go with her cousin. And they ended up getting less money for the house when it finally closed, and I had been touching them like once a month to see how things were going. And she was all excited that it sold, but money they were looking for in the first
So
place.
I'll tell you a story of how I got burned once. And so I had met with a client, he was interviewing 3 realtors and he gave us the business. He called me back and said, I haven't had a chance to get things signed off. This is back before DocuSign or AuthentiSign was really up and running. Everything was still paper. And he called the other realtors, and one of them was like, he really wanted business, and he knew that they wanted to be in a certain neighborhood. So he started calling around to find it. He actually found them a house before I could get the agreement signed.
Wow.
And he got the business.
Yeah,
So he showed value faster than I could.
right.
So there's ways to do it, and what you said earlier is check in regularly, follow up again. Because most realtors like, I got the business next. And forget about taking care of this one right now. And just, hey, offering value. I know you were looking for this neighborhood. I saw 3 that popped up. I went ahead and just sent them over to you. You can leave a voicemail. You can just send a direct voicemail kind of conversation, send them a text. Just want you to see this homes. I was thinking about you. Hope everything's great. Don't ask for the business. Just send them some stuff.
Yeah, that's what I ended up telling him was just, well, I appreciate you meeting with me and I wish you the best of luck. And if anything changes, let me know.
Yep. The last question.
Hey, John.
Yes.
Sorry, got a quick question, just to clarify. So you are saying that you have conversations over the phone about, what's the value? What do you think your house is worth? That kind of thing. But when it comes to your commission and pay, you would rather have that conversation face to face?
I will not have it over the phone.
You will not have it over the phone and you tell them, but to talk about the value and what they think their house is worth is okay over the phone. Okay.
And usually people will tell me, and every now and then I get someone who says, well, that's what I'm hiring you for. I said, that's great. I'm going to bring the data that I believe in. I'm going to share it all with you. But I'll be honest with you, I like to know what I'm walking into. And you might answer a question. I know that we are really far off. So I have to be prepared for our conversation. And you'd rather be prepared, right? Yes, I would. Well, can you give me a ballpark? Do you think it's worth 600? I'll start throwing numbers out. You think it's worth 600? Oh, God, no, that's way too much money. Oh, you think it's worth 500? No, I'll be losing money. So I start bringing them back in. Every now and then they will not say a word, and I just have to, I have a decision to make whether to go with that or not. But usually people will tell you. 9 times out of 10, they'll tell you what they're thinking.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah. Will all decision makers be there when we meet?
Important.
Why?
Because sometimes the spouse or, whoever else is on the mortgage with them just may not be there. And then that kind of stops the deal from happening.
You can't give it a sign if they're not all there.
So I had this a lot where I'll have the husband will tell me, well, I'll just relay all the information to her. But I know deep down who's making the decision on this.
Why?
I'm losing all the motivation if she's not there. I'm losing all the reasons they're trying to do it. This is very general. Usually, not always, the guys are more on the number side, the females more on the, here's what I want, here's what I need for the family. And if it's just a numbers conversation, I've lost all the motivation.
Sometimes it's not even the people on the mortgage too, like sometimes the house can be in just one person's name, but the wife is definitely running the show even though she's not on it. So it's definitely decision maker, not who's on the deed.
Correct. And I also want to find out there's an Aunt Sally who has a third interest in the property. Yeah. I have to get to that Aunt Sally as well, right?
Right.
What about young people with overbearing parents. Usually a dad looking out for his daughter. Is there anyone else that's going to have an input on this conversation I should be talking to? I know my dad really wants to be part of it. Well, can we have him there as well? I'll find out. You'll have an advocate. If you can, one thing I've done in the past, if I find there's a dad, I'll get his phone number and say, I'm meeting with your daughter Sally at 3 o'clock on Thursday. I just want to invite you to do so because I'm really impressed of how she's got her stuff together. And you should, way to go, Dad. Good job. Can you be there on Thursday at 3 as well? Because I want to make sure that we're taking into account what's important to you and looking out for your daughter.
And same with elderly too, right? Like if there's someone who's
Son,
older and you have
daughter.
a son or daughter.
Correct. That's really important. But for that, my prior example, you'll get a dad on your side, or at least you'll get his attention that, okay, maybe this person's not after school. Because their thought is you're going to find some random realtor, he's going to sell them some random place, get the highest commission possible, and doesn't care about that. You said a lot. All right, any other questions on this pre-listing questionnaire?
Will you just email that, the attachment, or I couldn't get it open, I don't know why I couldn't get it
When we're done, I'll
Okay.
get it too. Robbie can help if you're sending it too, if we can't get it. All right, let me jump back to where I was. I gotta share. Give me a second, guys. Sorry. Gotta stop that and redo it, I think. Okay. From current slide. And of course, I lose all the notes when I do that. Where's this? All right, so they want us to role play these questions. Why do we want to do that?
Just as comfortable.
It gets you comfortable saying it. So I love the fact that you guys are here listening to me and we're talking about it and you can see it and you can read it. But please don't practice on your clients. Set some time, make some friends, get together at least once a week and start scripting. We as a team get twice a week, we script regularly. I've done this for 16 years. I'm still script practicing. It gets you better at what you do. So find a partner, get off site and start practicing these questions. And do some crazy fun things with each other. Try to throw each other up. Do some that are straight and normal and organized, which most of them will be. And then throw some funny things in it. See what happens. It gets you better on your game. All right, so we're not gonna do that here, but it's something that you gotta be doing on your own. Regularly, please. All right, convert leads to contacts. All right, so what are ways you can convert leads? They show 3 on here. You could ask for an appointment. You could ask for a referral. You could ask them to reciprocate the connection that you've made. What does that last one mean?
Are you guys on the same page? Like, are you thinking, are they going to tell you that, yeah, I am a potential seller or, you know, does it make sense? 'Cause sometimes it's in your head that this person is going to sign with me, this person is going to be a seller, but if they're not saying it back to you.
Correct, yes. Especially if I help them find handyman, painter, landscaper, got all these things organized for them. Is there anything else you'll need?
Right.
And then I'll also, usually after I've given and given and given, I'll say, actually, don't mind me asking you, it's something I could really use help with. My clients, Bob and Susan, need to move. They're trying to get to this certain neighborhood and this certain price point. Do you know anyone that might be a good fit? Think about Bob and Susan. You can find ways to then, once you've given and given, you can then ask for business. The worst thing you can do is call, hey, Jimmy, I haven't talked to you in 4 years. How are you doing? I'm a realtor. Who do you know that wants to buy or sell? Usually people will shut you down. Every now and then you can find a guy that will actually say, I know someone, I'll refer you. I like to build a relationship and offer value. Gary Vanderchuck, you ever heard of him? He wrote a great book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. He's a big boxing fan. And his whole analogy is you don't earn the right to get the referral until you've given 3 times. Find 3 ways to give and you earn the right to ask for a referral.
It's really called jab, jab, jab.
Right hook.
Okay.
Yeah, the right hook's the referral.
Okay.
Yeah. Great book. All right.
At what point, and I know this is kind of off this, but at what point do you and your team ask for the review?
We have been doing it right after closing. And what we're finding is people tend to already be in move-in mode and nesting mode and getting the house set up. So we've actually shipped it 3 days before. So we send that email out 3 days before closing.
Okay,
And if we don't have it within 2 weeks, we send another one out 2 weeks later.
gotcha.
We just started doing that like 3 weeks ago. So we're gonna see how that works. But usually when they're in house buying mode or house selling mode, they're still engaged with you
Right,
at that
right,
point versus the furniture or the painter
right.
or the movers for that matter.
Have you heard of people asking like, after contract's been accepted and like at the high, at the peak,
Mhm.
kind of, have you heard of that being successful?
Right when you get under contract?
Right,
Yes. Yeah. You ever heard the promise? Guys, look it all up. What is his name, Seth?
I don't remember.
Hicks Anderson
Yes.
Group. The Anderson Hicks Group? Anderson Hicks Group. The Hicks of the group wrote the promise. And so when, I'm getting tangential, but it's really important. When we sit down with a client at an appointment, buyer or seller, and we've gone through everything, before the meeting is over, we'll ask them, hey, can we talk to you about our promise? And our goal to you is to offer you 5-star service between today and the day you close. And for us to offer 5-star service, I want to know what that means to you. What would a 5-star experience look like from today to closing? And they'll tell me, what might they say when I ask that question?
Communication.
Yeah.
Communication, yes, all the time. I want you to communicate. Well, how often?
Find me the right house.
Find me the right house.
That's usually what I do. Find me the right house.
make sure I'm not homeless.
Make sure I'm not homeless, yes. Yeah. Usually it's communication. On the selling side, give me the best price and keep me in the loop. I want to know what's going on. Or tell me what I need to know before I figure it out myself.
I get a lot of be straightforward with me.
Those kind. So you might write this down. That'd be great. So I start writing these things down. And then I tell them, listen, so I'm going to share this information with my team. If you're a solo, perfect. And maybe you had a TC, I'm going to share this with my TC so he or she is aware as well. And so I have 2 favors to ask. If we have earned the right, if we actually have provided a 5-star experience based upon these 3 things, I have 2 favors to ask. Can I ask those of you? And I say, sure. One is, would you mind giving me your 5-star review if we give you a 5-star experience? And once again, I have to earn this. I'm going to work my tail off to give you a 5-star experience. Would you give me a review? I'd be glad to do so. Wonderful. Second favor, if we give you a 5-star experience, would you be willing to refer me to a friend, family, or coworker who may be looking for the exact same experience? Once again, I have to earn this. Yeah, I'd be glad to do that. Great. I'll let my team know. And then we're all doing the promise. We're all checking in. How are we doing? We have spot check-ins. Maybe it's we put them on the market. Maybe it's under contract. How are we doing? You guys have been great, awesome, wonderful. By chance, you know somebody you could help. You talked about that before. Anyone I could help? No, but I'm going to think about it and I'll get back to you. You start putting expectations up front that you're going to ask for the referral, only if you earn the right to do so. It's a lot easier to ask. But go watch the video. It's really, really good. And you can tell he script practiced this thing because it rolls off his tongue like it's the nicest thing anyone's ever said. It's not judgy or not judgy. It's not in your face. It's not, you will give me business. It's very much, we have to earn this and what is important to you.
Some people are a little more aggressive with it.
Some are. We take a little softer approach.
We're like, well, I have my iPad right here. It's already filled out for 5 stars. Why don't you go ahead and write it?
There's one guy that kind of guilt trips in the middle and he's like, so I would love to get this referral from you by the time that we close on your property. And if I don't get that referral from you, I'm going to take it that I didn't give you 5-star service and I failed. And then he just sits there and looks at it. Yeah.
Stare a hole through them until they cave.
Yes.
Yeah. And they're like, okay.
The final nuances that make it your own. The thing is, you need to start doing.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the buyer or seller you're saying this to feels heard, and they feel that you're working your tail off to make it happen.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, this is James Jones. Yes.
Sure.
What was your reference again? Did you say that was on YouTube, the Anderson Hicks group?
Yeah, you can watch them on YouTube doing it.
Okay.
Just type in the promise Hicks KW, something like that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
There's a few other people who have done it.
Mm-hmm.
I know KW is teaching it, so you'll see a couple of people who are actually doing it as well.
Okay.
I love going back to Hicks because he made it. It is.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. All right, let's see here. Pre-qualifying sellers. Okay, we kind of talked about this already. Let me double check this here. All right, I think what they're talking about here, you've already done the pre-seller questionnaire and you're sitting down with the client at the appointment. Let's say the odds are when you're selling a house, there's two people involved, not always, but usually. And you've talked to one person on the phone, but not the other, right? So one thing we'll do sometimes, if I'm a little concerned about whether the motivation matches on both parties, I'll ask, hey, do you mind if I revisit the questions I asked Jim? Can I ask you the same questions? You would say, sure. And I'll ask the same questions of why are you doing, where are you going, what's going on, those kinds of things, just to make sure that they're lined up together and finding those kind of things. You should have sent over a pre-listing packet. There's an example in KW, there's like 5 different ones. And if we have a moment here, I'll pull it up and you can see what it looks like. It's really easy to customize. Most realtors don't send a pre-listing packet over. What is the benefit of sending one over?
Sets the expectation.
Of what? But you're correct.
One of your, I guess your work ethic.
Your work ethic.
Present. And then again, you get to know more about the seller.
You don't get to know about the seller in the pre-list packet. The packet is more about what we do and how we do it and how we do things. And most realtors don't send it out early. So if you are competing with 2 other people or one other, they're only going to have one packet in their hand. So they're thinking about you when they're meeting with somebody else because the packet's sitting on the kitchen table or you emailed to them.
You're really like priming them for that,
You're
conversation
priming
in person.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, yes. And also, it saves you a lot of time at the appointment because I'm not having to walk through a 25-minute marketing presentation. All that's, the majority is in there. I don't give all of our stuff away, but they get to see the basics of what we do and how we do it.
I think Patrice gave me a really good tip, which was when you're going on these listing, there's a questionnaire in that listing packet. And she mentioned something like bringing a copy with you because a lot of times they won't fill it out or they'll forget about it. And so getting them the opportunity to do that while you walk through the house without them,
Yep.
Which was really helpful because I have like a super talkative client. I would have been there for 5 hours. Like he's so nice, but I have a kid and I have a life. I had to go home. So I was like, oh, just look this over and I gave you an opportunity to view the house without their input, was just fresh eyes kind of thing.
Yes.
And gave me the chance while they were filling that out and then still gave me that information,
I have some clients, I do it that way because I can tell they can be overbearing.
Right.
And tell me what they want me to know.
Mm-hmm.
And I have other clients that I haven't clicked with them yet and I need them to be on my team. So I walk the house with them.
Yeah.
So I play it by ear depending on how the conversation goes.
I was gonna add,
Was that Burnett?
now I was just gonna add, it is so important to make sure everybody's on the same page. I show up last week, I get a call from the wife, show up for a listing appointment, and I get there and they've had a conversation that night before where they're changing their mind. So they're looking at me like, oh no, we're not gonna sell. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. We just had the conversation.
Oh.
And so it was just so awkward, but I mean, they let me look through and we'll still have some conversation because it didn't seem like they were definite. It just, I determined they're not both on the same page right now.
Yeah. And
It's the timing.
Burnett, you may already do this. One thing I do is the day before the appointment, I call them to confirm.
Yes, I did. I confirmed. Yeah.
And they still change their mind between the phone call. And
It was like, I don't know if she really wanted to have it to convince him we need to do this. I don't know. It was awkward for me, but.
You're the strong arm to get the husband to get in line.
Yeah.
It does happen.
Exactly.
That does happen. Yeah. Yeah. And if most people, when put into a corner, will dig their heels in and not move. So unfortunately, I was not going to help. All right. Let's see here. We were talking about the pre-listing questionnaire. Role play. I want you guys to find some friends. Do this on your own time because we only have 30 minutes together left or so. The listing presentation. All right. So there is a place in Command that you can find a template. Have you guys been in Command much?
Uh-huh.
All right. If you don't know how to find it, I'm going to kick out of this. I'll quickly show you how to get there. I had to figure it out this morning. And where is it? If you go into Command Somehow it got moved over here. I'm gonna try it again. Let me share my screen. What just happened here? Try to share the screen. You log into command. It are designs. I think it's the third tab from the bottom. Click on that. Of course, this thing's not in my way. I think you hit create design in the upper right corner. And you're going to hit print. This is a print media. Ideally, you want to drop this off at their house. We started shifting over during COVID. We started emailing these. And I noticed we got the same result. So we started saving the money of driving, mileage, and print. But for now, you can actually do a print piece, download as a PDF, and send the PDF over. And you hit continue, and then it
Oh,
pulls
does
up.
the email put it in the body? Is that what the difference is? Or instead of taking it as a PDF?
I put it as an attachment.
Oh, either way, okay.
Yeah. And then on the left side, you'll see you can do for sales, just listed, just sold, listing presentation. And there's 5 different versions of the exact same thing. And then here you can start customizing anything you want. It's really simple to start overlaying pictures, overlaying information, putting the stats in that are yours. And once you build it, you got it. Just take the time to do so.
It just, like, for me, it's a little time consuming just because it's small print at times. You
Yeah.
gotta zoom in and do all that, but
It's a little issue, yeah.
Yeah, but once you get it set, it's great.
Yeah.
And you don't have to start from scratch building a template.
I think there's there's a lot of pieces that are super customized, like to the actual person, like it'll say prepared for.
Yeah.
And Patrice mentioned like taking a lot of that customization out and just having them printed generically in your car. That way you could have them more like, it's not tailored to one specific listing or one
Right.
specific person.
You gotta definitely be careful and go through it.
Yeah,
You'll
because like
see-
you'll miss you had, Mrs. Jones intervening with Mr. Smith. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, crap, so just taking the personalization, I think helps.
Correct. I did download it. There. Oh, man, I gotta stop share, reshare. Sorry, guys. The joys of tech. Next time you all just come into the office, all right?
Sorry.
Let me share here. I can get this to fit my screen. That's fine. It's not doing that. Fit one full page. Of course, it's gonna be nice and small now. Of course, you're gonna delete listing presentation template. You don't want to share that with people. You don't want to share the instructions. You'll delete that as well. And then this is your cover page of it. And you can put the KW logos, your information, your picture. You can use this picture, you can change pictures. And it talks about things you're gonna be going over. These are all your stats. So I like to give this in advance to them so they can read it. And then when I sit down, I say, do you have any questions about what I left with you? And every now and then you have someone who's marked the heck out of it. They want to know about this, they want to know about that. And if that's the case, what kind of personality do you usually have? What?
Type A.
Type A or high detail.
Sure.
So if you're looking at DISC, you guys haven't done DISC yet. You have D's driver, C's compliant. They both can be very rapid and short. And you have I for influencer, S for not social, S for stability. They tend to be a little more slower, a little more nurturing. So you'll start asking questions. You get to interpret how they want to receive information.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
John, this is James again.
Yes, sir.
What are you doing for photographs, if at all, or do you do them all the time? Do you pull a photograph that was out there before? Do you drive by and get I don't know if that'd be kind of creepy, but
People do that. We don't. No. So usually I don't have anything on the subject property.
Okay.
I will not
Okay.
have a picture of it.
Okay,
What I
understand.
want to do is there's things that you can do that offer value and things that just take time.
Yes, that's one, right?
And I feel sometimes it just takes time. And
Understood.
I don't see the benefit. They're going to care
Understood.
more about the data, about the neighbors' houses, what they sold for, how it compares to theirs. So for me, actually, I just print off the MLS stuff and have all the information from each house
Uh-huh,
compared to the tax record of their home.
uh-huh.
I lay those out in front of them and we start talking about how does their house compare? This is KW's way of doing it.
So do you guys still rely on command a lot or?
We had another system when command was being built out, and my opinion is command's not ready for teams yet. It's getting much, much closer. For individuals, it's awesome. But I can't let go of my system yet until.
Well, you're like the first team really that I've known that really like talks about command as much as you do others.
We do a ton of advertising through it. So we actually have linked our system with commands.
Yeah.
So we have 2 matching databases. So that I can do all the Facebook advertising for our listings through command. And then those leads come up and they come back to our system and we run them in our system. One day we'll be at command. We're just not there yet. But I mean, heck, when you're starting off as an agent, it is an incredible system to get for free at the end of the day. Okay. We're not gonna go too much into this. Please download it. Please look at it. Talk to Patrice, need help with it, or talk with each other about it. Let's see here. I want to get back into this. Share presentation. Then, okay. So don't have time to practice today. Please practice on each other, not your clients. All right, recaps and ahas. I know we went really fast through a lot of stuff here, guys. What questions do you have on this so far? Has this been helpful?
Yeah.
Give me an aha. What did you learn?
I like always have a task for the people you communicate with.
Always have a task. Yeah. Always have a task. Otherwise, you're relying on memory to call them again. Or off you go. What else?
I like that when you were talking about how when you first started talking to database and people, and I hate that.
You hate calling your database?
I do.
Find reasons to call them. It makes it a lot more easy.
Right. You know, so just that.
Yes.
For me, because
Yes.
normally it's like, oh, here's an email, or I'll call people that I know really well, but reaching out to people.
And what happens when you do that? You start getting selective on who you're calling, and then you call in the same small group of people versus a very large group of people,
Right.
and you're missing out on these people who maybe have something for you. Now, is everyone in your database created equal? No. So there are people that you should be calling more than others, in my opinion. And there are some people that actually like to hear from me more often. Like I had one client, Michelle, I call her monthly. She doesn't like to talk. She sends me a lot of business. I like people who send me a lot of business, and I call them quarterly because that's all they want to talk. And in fact, for them, that's actually probably more than they want to talk. But somewhere in that 1 month to once a quarter range that they'll hear from me. And every now and then, don't do this yet, but my database is 16 years old. So I've earned the right to start changing how I do it. I do start a little more texting, a little more impersonal stuff. Well, I started doing videos, like a BombBomb video, and I put stats in there and then mass it to my entire database. And that was my lead gen for that 1 quarter. But I've been calling them for 16 years. So if I do something a little different, it's okay. When you're trying to build up your business, what's more personal? Talking to someone face-to-face or sending them a video?
Face-to-face.
And the face-to-face is where you actually have a chance to ask questions, get clarity, and maybe find a referral. Versus I send a video out, I'm just getting backdoor value, if that makes sense. Still good to do. It shouldn't take over the phone calls, especially when you're starting your business out. What other ahas we got?
Something of value when you're talking to your clients or door knocking, things like that.
Giving pieces of value for door knocking, phone calls, whatever it may be. So you could have a piece of value and then you send it out to your entire database and then you start making phone calls on it. Hey, what'd you think of this piece? Was this helpful to you? Actually, it's kind of useless. How could I have done better? What kind of information do you want to get? So tie into items of value and send those things out. What else?
I picked up some nuggets on how to like change the conversation to get more listings. I mean, I've got majority of buyers right now, so
Yep.
kind of incorporate the information looking for listings.
Find those sellers, Burnett, make your life so much better.
Yeah, I know. I think so.
How many sellers can you service for the same amount of time of one buyer?
So many.
Like, give me an
A
idea.
lot more.
Man.
I'd say 5 to 10.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What your level of service looks like.
easily.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. And in this market, If you put a house on the market, appropriately priced and marketed, will you sell it?
Yes.
If you sign up a buyer, are you guaranteed that you're gonna get them under contract in the house?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Go find sellers.
Yeah.
Find the sellers. Because also as you're finding sellers, now you're advertising. Like I said before, you're putting a sign in the yard, people see you.
Yeah.
A realtor called me on one of my listings. He's like, dude, your signs are everywhere. Yeah. Tell me more about your business. And now it's a conversation about maybe he's a talent person for us one day. But advertising is huge, especially when it's like the signs in the yard. It's not like some random self-promotion in a magazine. It's a sign in the yard. Makes a big difference. Is there an area you want us to go back to and talk over some more? I thought we had more to talk about, so I kind of went a little faster than I thought. And Robbie's going to be here in 15 minutes. So I got 15 minutes here. What should we go back and talk about?
I have a question. So with some of these repeat calls and conversations, these people obviously use the scripts. However, even with scripts, I feel like I get into robotic mode, and that can be felt across the conversation with clients. How do you avoid doing that?
Script practice. And because how you say it is equally as important as what is being said.
Yes.
And if it's robotic, the odds are you haven't internalized it yet. It still hasn't sounded like Melissa yet. So there are certain scripts that we'll do that I will, and they're big in this with Ignite and even Bold. They want you reading them and reading them and reading them and practicing and practicing and practicing the way it's written. And then over time, you'll start to add a little Melissa to it. And it'll sound more like you. So the more you practice it, the more it becomes part of you. Then when it comes out, it sounds like you versus sounding like Deanna Kokoska or someone at KW who wrote the actual script.
Sounds more authentic.
It does. You got to practice it though first, and over and over, Melissa. So find a friend to practice with. Do that for a month, and find another friend, and keep rotating.
Yeah, I think I've done so much script over the years, but like I know a lot of the script, if you can keep the body of it and what it's truly meant to say. Like I know I would read some that seem very Southern, and I'm raised by Northerners, and I was like, I just don't, right? So it doesn't seem natural, and I would trip up over trying to sound like the script. Versus like taking some of the small things that just kind of make it sound more like you. Like I'm a you guyser, I'm not a y'aller. And like,
but what happens when a y'aller sits down with
true,
you guys?
True, and you can gauge that too. If I'm talking to a super, I'm still not yelling, but at the same time, I can respect what they are. But I think there's certain things that I've read that just like the way that the sentence was structured wouldn't be exact. It would just, if you know something is just making you sound so unnatural, like that's just the structure. It's a small little piece that you can tweak to just be you.
Make it sound like your own.
But make it sound like your own. Like that's the biggest.
But don't change it right away.
Right.
That's the catch. And people start changing the scripts, and what they end up doing is they end up changing one or two words that are really key words versus the word that doesn't sound like them.
Right.
Because that one made them uncomfortable. So they rewrite the script, and you lose all the efficacy of that script at the end of the day.
What are some of your favorite scripts?
Gave some today. Great question, Melissa. Let me think here. So the pre-listing questions we went over earlier, I love almost all of those.
How about for the person I'm not ready right now?
Well, I want to know why. And usually by that point, we were both self-discovered they're not ready. It's not a surprise. Like they're giving me indications that this is going to be a happening down the road kind of thing.
Right.
So then I start going into how can I help you mode? How often do you want me to communicate with you mode? So I start asking questions around that. At that point, I'm trying to add value as much as I possibly can and get out of selling mode.
Right.
Once I get the clue that they're not ready, I back off.
Yeah.
It's very much a nurturing at that point.
I really firmly believe that. Our team doesn't. But I believe that, like, if they're not ready, they're not ready.
If they're not ready, they're not ready. I would agree. And I think when you come across some place of contribution that hits their time frame, not mine,
Right.
and you win, you have an advocate and you win them over versus feeling they're like being pushed into a decision not ready to make that. Right. And I think then that gives you the opportunity to earn 250 people they know to get their business. Yeah. So That's where my brain goes with all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
How do you stay in touch with people who, like credit repair people?
We've done, yeah, so usually I send to my lender who has the credit repair people. Because the lender's doing the finance stuff, so I want that person engaged as part of my team.
But if they're, what I'm saying is like, if they're not ready, we know that they, like, if they're do not qualify from the lender,
Yeah.
like how are you, what's your script with them and how do you stay in touch with them?
Well, if I, once again, they should talk to my lender already, the lender's already helped them, that's great, we're gonna keep in touch. I'm still gonna send you homes. How often do you wanna receive these homes? Just so you can see what the market's doing. Some of my clients say, don't do it, don't tease me, just turn it off, call me in 6 months. And I usually call them in 3. You should cut it in half. Whatever they tell me, I cut it in half. Because usually people overestimate how long it's gonna take to get where they want it.
Right.
Or I find out what information they need. And then I just start calling in, depending on how far out they are, or it's a monthly call, 5-monthly call, quarterly call.
Do you find resources to help them?
No, I do the
You just
lender, lender does
let
it.
let
Let the lender handle it. Because I want the lender being the source of the information when it comes to the financial.
Right, and just leave you out of that piece.
I check in regularly. How's it going? What's going on?
Yeah.
And we have 2 great lenders, and they both have resources on that piece.
Gotcha.
And that way anchors them to that person who's been anchored back to me. as well.
Right. So this.
It's a team. Yeah, you guys are solo agents, except for you, but you have a team. You have your lender, you have your closing or title company, you have your home inspector, you have your photographer, you have your stager. All the people that help you do what you do is your team. So bring them back in on that piece.
How do you deal with clients that are very undecisive and in a sense to the point of they really don't even know what they want?
Do you think you had the superpower to get them to realize what they want? I'm being facetious, but I'm actually being, I think there are realtors out there that will convince that they can help anybody, and I think not everyone's helpable.
Right.
I have one, it's tangential to your question, Melissa. I have one client I've been talking with for 6 years. Selling one day. I call them every quarter. And it's always, we're going to do this. We're going to hire the house painter. We're going to do this. And I call them, I haven't done it yet, but I'm calling them next week. I call a quarter again. I haven't done it yet. I'm calling them next week. That's fine. I still check in. But his motivation is way low. So I match his motivation with mine. I'm here for you when you're ready.
But you still stay in touch in front of them.
I
enough
still
to
stay in touch.
remember you.
One day he's going to move. Everyone moves one day.
Yeah.
No one stays forever. It's very rare that someone stays.
30 years.
Everyone dies. They have to move when they die. They can't stay there.
They're not much use to me at that point.
Yeah. So everyone moves
Yeah.
at that point, right? So getting clear and being able to walk away when you need to walk away and saying no, or just now's not the right time.
What conversations are, I mean, I don't even know if it's really a script, but what do you, in this market, if there needs to be a price adjustment to help move their house?
Price adjustment question. So timing around that?
Yeah.
Great. So when I sit down with a client, have you guys seen the pricing triangle? Is that one of the classes in that yet? It's in one of the packets, and it says you price it here, 85% of the market, you're gonna sell it, you start going higher in price, your market share starts to drop. So that Catherine on my team uses that. She loves that one. I do it a little differently. But basically I give 3 price points. And it used to be 2 until the market got as crazy it was. I always had a low range and a high range. And now I have a technical term called super crazy high end, because it's that kind of silly market we're in. And I laugh at it when I say it. And I say, I think your home, based upon the sales, is here to here. And if we play our cards right, I can get you to here. But I can't get you to there if I start you here. And here's why. And I start working them backwards into how I want the house to get priced. But if I have a seller that's like, no, I want to start here, and we're not agreeing, then I'll ask them, I say, listen, I'll try your way, and we both agree we're trying here, right? And they'll say, yeah, we're trying. Great. So if we don't find, by the way, what's the average days on market in Richmond right now?
21.
7.
Yeah, I was gonna say 7.
Oh, 7, okay, was 12.
It's going up slightly, so maybe it's 8 or 9 or 10 now. But I'll usually say, if we haven't sold it in the first 7 days, it's one of 3 things. It's either your condition, it's your location, or it's your price. I can't change your location. I can have you put a ton of more money into the house, or we gotta adjust the price. So we're gonna try your idea for 10 days, 14 days, and then we're gonna have a price reduction. You agree with that? Because if they're not willing to adjust at the high mark and we can't sell, what have I just done with my time and money? I wasted it. I could use it for somebody else who needed my time and money as an investment. So then it's a conversation of what I'm gonna do in the listing agreement is I'm gonna put at day 14, we're gonna drop from here to here, and it's already written in the agreement. And so on day 14, I send a text saying, hey, per agreement, I'm making a change to that.
How do you get out of
That's
that,
super smart.
that mindset that?
Do you give them
At 14 days.
do you give an exact price or do you give them like a range?
No, oh wait, for the price reduction?
No, for the listing price to start out with.
I never give an exact price because am I the one buying the house?
No.
No.
Okay.
So here's my recommended range. The lower we go, the more attractive it is. We purposely hold offers for 6 days. We go on Thursday, review on Tuesday. And why do I do Tuesday? Not Sunday night.
So everybody's getting ready for Monday.
No, I want to be home with my family.
Yeah.
And I don't
The
do
other
Monday.
agents
Why don't I do
with the
Monday?
family.
Mondays are terrible.
Mondays is just.
Because everyone's calling me Sunday to get the offer in before Monday. And then the reason we do it is because we do the open house on Sunday. We want Monday to do follow-up time. So then I have a chance to convert one of those people to write the offer for Tuesday. It drives the seller nuts having to hold them Thursday to Tuesday. And I prep them, it's gonna be emotionally taxing for you. You're gonna feel like it's just too long of a period of time, but it works out really well. We'll get what we've been doing. But back to the original conversation of Burnett is that, yeah, we have a price range, but if they're pushing to the top end and expecting the results of a lower end list, like they're expecting to have multiple offers and driving the price at $50,000, but they want to start at the top, I gotta be really clear with what's gonna happen and tell them that's your choice. But here's most likely what's gonna happen. You have a lot of showings and I might get one offer. And I have to negotiate you backwards versus I start lower, I get 10 offers, I get to negotiate you up. Which you prefer. Now the market was starting to shift in the fall a little bit and soft. So I had one client, they were in Chester, and that market wasn't going fast. And I told them, I gave you a range, I'm actually recommending you go on the top end. And because what I don't want to do is start too low and we don't get an offer and I can't get you back up. I didn't feel confident that the market was going to break this pricing up. I said, we can try it that way. It might work. In your case, I think I'd rather start you with the 530 number than start you at 490. And are you okay with that? He says all day long. So that was an agreement, watching the market, seeing what's happening and watching those numbers in that area. At that point in time, it made more sense.
So
And I was right, it took 3 weeks to sell. And then I got 2 offers on the same day, an hour apart. And it went up. The damn thing went up.
So the activity within those 2 weeks, what was that like?
It was here and there.
Yeah.
It was a trickle. But it would have been a trickle at the lower price too.
Right. Interesting.
So you guys, you gotta know your market, know what the speed's happening, that kind of stuff.
Do you,
Because that house is surrounded by new construction.
oh, yeah.
I mean, that area is all new construction, so you're competing with new construction, so you gotta set yourself apart.
So how do you feel about like seasonality coming into play? Like now we're getting,
Seasonality?
like just coming up on the holidays, like how do you feel about your listings that are on the market right now that have just gotten to the market?
So every home will sell when it's priced right for the market.
Right.
So if I have clients that want that peak boom, then I tell them they have to wait 6 months to get it. The problem is rates are starting to go up. So everyone buys on payment, not on price. So these rates come up, it could put a little pressure on the market. We know what we have now, we don't know what's gonna happen in 6 months.
So we made it to move earlier, yeah.
Yes. I usually don't involve politics into anything, but if someone's very, very clear they don't like the current president, or this is years ago, the last president, sometimes we use the conversation in my favor. Well, do you trust what's gonna happen in 6 months with this person? I sure as hell don't. We know the market we're in, let's go ahead and do something now. Right? I go, okay. I never bring it up, they always bring it up first.
But
I don't agree with them or deny it, I just use that to my advantage.
On the seller side, do you prepare them for seasonality even in this market?
A little bit.
Yeah.
They know it,
You can say things.
they know the seasonality.
Yeah, with what I'm saying with listings right now is because they're like, holidays, the holidays. I'll let them know the most serious buyers are gonna be out on Thanksgiving weekend. They're gonna be out.
So
on
using
Christmas weekend.
Thanksgiving, Christmas to your advantage, there's always people out there looking.
Yeah, but those are the most serious buyers if they're taking time away from their families to come and look at your house.
People do need to move.
Right.
You were asking a question earlier, and I cut you off.
I was saying, How do you maintain that mindset? So if you did your pricing strategy and you knew where they were gonna be, like
Okay.
the good price, but they still want that higher price, they still want to list at that higher price.
Yes.
And you're saying in 14 days, we're gonna revisit this, we're gonna come, at the price that's beneficial to you. How do you keep that mindset for that 14 days that really no activity is gonna happen because?
Yeah, so for internet land, question was around mindset of if the seller wants to price on the high end and you know that they're way too high for the market, even though it's a crazy market. What's my mindset going into that 2-week period? I'm full supporting mode. I'm very excited about helping to get that job done. We are very clear that this is their price choice, not mine. Because at the end of the day, if I just say yes, 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 I'm really helping. I'm not doing my job. My job is to advise them.
Right.
So it's hey, John, we've only had 3 showings in 5 days. Yeah, I know. You and I had talked about that. We sat down when this price was chosen. I don't say you. So when this price was chosen, that it could be a softer market right now. Are you okay with that? Or you want to accelerate our price reduction now? No, I want to wait for 14 days. Okay, we'll wait 14 days.
The question about that.
Yeah.
Because I have a seller right now who initially had met with another realtor and he had told them this high price. So when I met with them and signed them, that's the price that they wanted.
They wanted that high price from the other realtor.
Right.
Right.
So I said.
And you agreed to it.
I said, okay.
Okay.
You're in the driver's seat. I don't think it's a good idea, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
So we've been there for 3 weeks.
It hasn't sold in 3 weeks.
Hasn't sold.
Shocker.
Right? So I have been having the price reduction conversation with them after the first week. We had tons of showings, but no offers.
And I guess they don't want to talk about the price reduction conversation.
No, so, I mean, they're actually like, we'll reduce our price when we find a new house. Because we're buying as well. And
Okay.
I'm like,
So they don't feel the pressure, like.
right.
Proves the motivation's not there.
Right.
So can they afford to buy the next house without selling the car?
They can, but they don't want to.
Of course, no one wants to.
That was kind of gonna be one of my questions.
So we can sell it.
Yeah. So once again, so I think a conversation may have been missed up front around the expectation of the price reduction. I'm gonna let you try this, but I'm doing you a disservice if I let you hang out there for longer than 2 weeks.
I mean, we did talk about it, I just didn't write anything down,
Correct.
so after 1 week, I'm
Correct.
like, okay, I think we need to be talking.
So you go
about
back with
it.
data. You can go back with data and say, hey, by the way, every house in your neighborhood is sold between 5 and 7 days.
Well-
We're at 31.
So she's like, the house down the street
Of course, the house.
is sold for my price, and it's not as nice as mine.
Correct. But that's also probably a spring market sale.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say.
We're in
I
a
think,
different
like,
market.
I'm kind of in this boat too, where I think what we did, the pricing based off of was what had been sold, and I think the last sold was like in August, of course, like right at the beginning of August, I'm gonna say. But with a couple of the pending sales, those were kind of hanging out, and now it's interesting to see that those are a little bit lower when they sold.
Yes.
So of course, we came up with our price right in the middle of that before those pendings went sold to actually see what that looks like.
Yeah.
So would you still give that 7 to 14 day window of kind of revisiting now that you have some more data based upon what recently
I'm a
sold?
big fan of expectations up front. So actually, possible.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I will tell you, don't look at just the sold price for history of sales. I'll give you back.
No,
on
you're
that.
good. You're fine.
You need to look at where they started on the list price. Because what happened is everyone says, well, that house sold for $350. I'm gonna start at $350.
Right.
They didn't recognize the house started at $295 and got to $350.
Right.
So you're basically ignoring the whole marketing strategy that got them the results they want.
Which is the initial list price to what they sold. for,
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
To get people excited, you want here, the buyers want here. If I start the buyers here, they don't get excited. I start the buyers here, they're foaming at the mouth.
Right.
They can't wait to get into this house.
And you're not getting as many buyers up here.
You're getting
You're
none.
getting a bunch
You
of
might get one
buyers
who
here.
shakes you backwards. So
Price doesn't matter if nobody comes to see the house.
I
Right,
can't sell it without anyone there.
right.
It's like you can't stay business without any clients. Same.
I have a question.
Yes.
So when you're
Question
having
from
that conversation about the expectations and adjusting the price later and everything, do you go over the risks of, hey, if this sits on the market for 2 weeks, that may raise other questions for people of, well, why has this house been on the market for 2 weeks and hasn't sold?
So I always come back to them. Have you ever seen a house that's been on the market for 6 months? And they'll say yes. And I say, what was your first thought when you saw the days on market? And they say,
Something's wrong with it.
something's wrong with it. We are an
Exactly.
accelerated version of that market where 6 months is nothing. You get past, why didn't it sell the first week? What was wrong with it? Well, they don't,
Exactly.
I don't want it. So it's getting into their head of what they're already thinking, but flip it back onto their house of, this is really important for you to understand that how you introduce your home to the market is equally as important as the pictures you put out there and the description you write and everything else that you do. You've got to be smart in your price. Otherwise you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Right.
All right, I am done, guys. This has been fun. Robbie's up. He's gonna walk through some command stuff with you guys. Yeah, you up?
Good. Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you.
good to go.
All right,
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Welcome. That's fun. I showed him how to find the listing in command.
Okay.
But you probably.
Yeah, I was gonna dive into a little bit more on that one.
All right, cool.
That's perfect.
Let's do this. Thank you.
Can't leave yet, guys. Robbie's important.
Probably have a meeting with Patrice.
Sounds good.
Friday night?
Hey, John,
Yo,
this is James.
yes, sir.
I had a question regarding the data information sheet after you've secured the listing. I've heard many different ways of how people usually get that completed. Do you include that in a package at some point? Do you let the owner, do you send it to the owner for them to complete?
Yeah, we built out a jot form that allows us to get all the answers we need, and I'll let them know that Hazel and my team's gonna send that over to them. So I can maximize. You can do that, or you can leave that form with them as you're doing the walk through the house, and they're filling it out as you're doing the walkthrough.
Okay, so you've created your own form. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, but the walkthrough is great because then it frees you up to walk the house by yourself, and they're filling out all the answers on the house. And every now and then I used to do it that way, and I get people to say, well, I'm not even sure if I'm hiring you yet. That's fine, you can wait if you want to. Just, I know it's important in maximizing time, getting you top dollar and all the other stuff. So usually they'll fill it out. But I choose to do it otherwise, because sometimes I need them walking with me. All right, I gotta run, James, because Robbie needs your time.
Absolutely, thanks.
Guys.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, awesome. Well, I'm sure you guys got a lot out of John, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Pretty awesome what he does. He's one of the best. All right, so I'm gonna go over just quickly, kind of run through the listing presentation and kind of show you how you can customize that to fit your client, your needs, whatever you have. I know John kind of touched on it a little bit. So real quick, did he show you how to get into it and everything like that? So you'll go in, you'll go to designs and pull up listings. So we're gonna just go ahead and use this one real quick. You guys online can see my screen, correct?
Yes.
All right, sweet. Awesome. All right. All right, so you guys will see from here, you've got the listing presentation. Now, the great thing about this is it's completely editable. All right, so you guys can go in and update with any pictures you want. If you've got any images downloaded to your computer that fit this, you can mess with font, any type of text you want it to say, simply just click on it. And you can edit it however, like I said, however you want it to be. So this one right here, this is just 29 page, just your basic listing presentation. So this right here is just kind of an instruction for how it's going to work, and some places for you to, if you need any additional support or anything like that, you can go to KW support or support@kw.com. But this is just showing that it's like kind of just telling you it's fully customizable. So as you're going through here, you're going to see so here's the opening page of it, whatever, you put your client's names in there, picture of the house that you've got, if it's already, pictures have already been done, what have you. So we've got this, you're going to have your KW DBA name on there, and then your information obviously down here at the bottom is kind of crucial, right? If you're going to a listing presentation, you want to be able to have them get back in contact with you. So you've got that. Some more kind of information on like the property, the guide, going to have like a custom marketing plan representing the home. So this is kind of your table of contents area right here that you, again, can fix it to however you want. As you're going through, this has got, just some information on the area and some, stats that they're going to have for you so that you can kind of say, hey, look, like in this situation right here, your home's 10% larger than the average property sold in Barton Hills. So obviously you're gonna have to do a little bit of legwork on your end, but obviously you're doing that on anyways. So that's just a little bit of background on the property. And one of the cool features that this thing has is the market snapshot for the area. So I know when I came in, you guys were kind of talking about days on market, how long it's been, going, what the average sales price is. So this right here, this snapshot is showing, let me see if I can just zoom in. Anyway, so
At the bottom.
Yeah, I think
the
it
plus-
has been on
is
there.
that-
The plus sign.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. Good looks. Appreciate that. All right, so you guys can see, so you've got the number of active listings that are there, how many pending, average days on market, and then the average list price per square foot. So that's just kind of showing a quick snapshot of the area, and also up here, it's showing the average list price and the average sold price. So the great thing about this snapshot is you can go in and you can put in the actual area that you're looking for. And to do that, you just go into KWLS, this little home button over here, and then you got listing and snapshots. So like for a listing, if you had a listing and it was already in the system, anything like that, you could pull up your listing directly from there. Or you just go to snapshots and then you can type in the neighborhood name that it's working in, and it's going to pull everything up for you right here. And this is going to be your snapshot right there. Crystal, if you don't mind, I know you've got a listing going on right now. What's the address for that?
9408 Springhouse Drive.
One word or two words?
One word.
Springhouse?
Yep. And then it's Chesterfield, 2332.
23832?
Yep, yeah.
All right, so for example here, I'm pulling up Crystal's listing. It's got all of her photos that have been put in through the MLS. So she can pick and choose and put, whatever she wants onto the document. And it's also got listing details. So it's got the sales price, the current sales price, when it went on the market, when it was built, square foot, lot size, bedroom, bath, all the good stuff on there. Right, so she can go ahead and customize this completely to tailor it to the clients. So that's just one of the ways, that's how you would go in and find that listing or the snapshot area that you want to put in. Again, you've got some more on here, so comparable properties. So like in this case, if you wanted to pull up, how comps from area, houses on the market around you, you can do that through the MLS, pull those up. And then you can put those in there to just show, hey, compare and contrast to see what your property looks like compared to the other ones that are, for sale around you. Obviously, you've got, your needs come first, so you're going to sit here and just have a few basic questions, some trigger questions for your clients so you guys can get some notes. Like one of the ones on here says, what's the one thing that has to happen to make that dream scenario become a reality? How can I make that happen for you? So, you're trying to get that interaction, kind of get that pain point for that buyer to figure, or that seller to be like, hey, what do you need? So that, hey, I can run in and do that.
I'm doing great, actually. Yeah, can I give you a call probably in about, not long, maybe like 10
Okay.
minutes maybe? I've been in a appointment since 9, I think.
Sorry about that. And then you're gonna have a rundown of the process. Again, as you're going through, you can completely customize this. So if you've got a different way that you want to run things, anything like that, you can change the process up in here. And kind of, like I said, you can edit the text, put whatever you want in that area to kind of fit what you're trying to do with this presentation. This also right here has the app. So this is how you can also put in your app's, link and everything in there to have them log in, connect with you on the app. Again, that way, once, you sell their house, you're obviously probably going to help them buy later on down the road. Then they can say, hey, you know what, this is where we're looking. You can kind of link that up and kind of give you a heads up on them as well, or heads up on the competition as well. This is just talking about your marketing plan, kind of what you want to put in, how you're going to help market this for them. Another breakdown, so kind of just giving you some run-throughs. And this is really showing you how, this right here is kind of showing you a graph of how people buy their homes, whether it be internet, through the agent, yard sign, open house sign, friend, relative, neighbor. So it's kind of just a chart right there to show that. Just talking about marketing. So again, through commands, you can go through and use your marketing side of things with campaigns, designs, kind of what we're in right now. So those are just some tools that you have through there. Let's talk about media. So like if you got a plan for how you know, through command, if you're doing mailers, so if you're going to send mailers out, if you're going to send like a just listed flyer, a brochure that you're going to have, you know, at open houses or what have you, this is just showing, hey, this is what we can do, how we can do it. Again, everything here in command is there for you. And it's also just talking about how you can use, you know, Facebook, Instagram, you know, to kind of promote these properties out to whether it be your sphere or, you know, to other agents as well out there. This is just some strategic promotion, how you guys can go through coming soon, just listed. Open house, so kind of walk through, you know, what the best way to, you know, you're going to attack the open house is. And again, main thing here is just so you're kind of laying it all out there for your client to see, hey, this is exactly how we're gonna get this thing sold for you guys, and we're gonna get the best possible price, as well as the best, you know, client that fits this one for you. So that's one way that it's got through here. Again, just a bunch of the strategies, and this has also got a few just, you know, eye-catching yard signs, door knocking, professional photography, mass mobile marketing, just a details page. So then this right here, this is about you. Okay, this is why you are, you know, the expert in this area, right? So you're gonna have your credentials, done everything that you've done, how long you've been in the business, how many clients, how many clients you've served this year, how many repeat clients you've had. So again, this is just a template for you to use. You can build it out however you want, but again, it gives you that kind of trigger point, say, this would be something good to use. This is talking about the KW experience. Obviously, it's got the Y4C2 TEs in here. So it's kind of just got why we're the leader in the industry for Keller Williams and how you're partnered with Keller Williams. And then this is just like a portfolio. So you can add in other, you know, that you've had prior to this one. And you can just kind of put that portfolio in there just so they can see, you know, what you've done, as well as, you know, other, you know, you can also use other feature listings that you've had. So pretty much, like I said, this thing is completely up to you. They've got client testimonials on here as well, which would be great. You know, it's just one thing you can do to put those in there. Does anybody have any questions? I know I kind of went through this kind of quick, but just wanted to kind of give you guys an overview of the listing presentation, kind of how it's built, and also a few little things that you can do on it.
I've used that. I've got quite comfortable with it.
Yeah.
With it now.
I mean, it's pretty user-friendly once you get into it, right?
Once
I mean,
you get into
yeah.
it,
And again, that's the big thing, is just making sure that you're playing around with it. I know people who have been in my classes before have heard me say it. I, you know, kind of use this like we're beating a dead horse, but it's like, get in there, put yourself in as a contact, right? Go in, do all this for yourself first, because it's not going anywhere. It's just going straight to you. So you can see, okay, hey, this is what it's going to look like from the consumer end, right? And then you can sit there and say, okay, where can I make my changes here? So you're not just free, you know, just test running it on your first client, but you can do it, you know, by yourself. You can see it, make the adjustments. And I'd say do that for kind of everything that you're going to run, whether it be a campaign, a newsletter, you know, a mailer, anything like that. Just do it for yourself first, and then you can run it out to your, you know, to your sphere, to your database.
Okay, I have a question. I missed the first part, and I apologize, I had to go powder my nose. I went down here and found something about listings, and so I had her put, I don't have any listings, so she put in her listing, and it shows a map. Can you show us what to do here, like on this particular one? I lost where we were.
Yeah, so were you trying to pull like the listing up? Is that what?
We were on the next to the last thing. On listing search, I didn't know where to go. And so she put in her listing to see. and it was there. But I, it's going on,
So if we pulled up, so if we put in the property address again right here,
what's your address? Is it that? Is it that?
And I'll come back here in just a second. Does anybody else have any questions with anything? If not, I know you guys are busy. I don't want to keep you all any longer, so I appreciate you guys sticking in today. And then we'll be back on Wednesday?
Is it Wednesday?
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate it. Hope everybody has a good rest of their day and a good week.
Thank you.
thanks, Robbie.
Thank you, Rowdy.
Well.